Good morning. Coffee talk. It's a little noisy outside, but still I'm doing this because I realize it kind of relates to what I want to talk about, namely mm, relationships and how it takes two to tango. And in order to have good relationships with the people around us, not just intimate but friendships as well, it is very important to have a good relationship with ourselves. And the thing is that nobody kind of teaches us how to have that good relationship with ourselves. We learn by observing the relationships our parents have with themselves and one another. And we kind of subconsciously take that on and then recreate those patterns of relating to self and other and our other relationships. Which these patterns a lot of times can be really unhealthy. And later on, as adults, when we get into relationships with people and kind of start to repeat similar patterns and not be getting exactly what we want, we can pause and say, okay, maybe there's something within me that is causing this pattern to appear over and over, and I just draw a different person into it. And then we can address things like abandonment issues, attachment issues. But one thing that I've found that helps me the most is to realize that in relationship there should be equality. And for a successful relationship, I don't believe that we need to make compromises. I believe that simply we need to be aware of our needs and desires and the other person's needs and desires. And if they're similar and matched and we get along, continue the relationship. And because those change all the time, it is good to actually have that clear communication of when presented with a request. You can pause and ask yourself, what do I want? How do I feel? My lettuce. And then take however much time you need to figure that out. And then give response to that person. And it's those little things like in communication that actually make a huge difference. We'll go back to the roads. I think maybe a little less noisy. When it's a simple request like, hey, what are you doing? Let's hang out. And if you're doing something at that moment and you're busy but you still want to hang out with that person, you can communicate and say, hey, I'm busy right now. Thanks for thinking of me. I would love to hang out. How about that day and time when it's good for you? Or, if you'd rather text versus talk when you meet a new person, you can communicate that to them. And it's okay to have needs. And it's perfectly okay to express them. And it's also perfectly okay for them to be honored and met on the other side. And if our needs are continuously disregarded, then it's not a good relationship. And if we communicate our needs to the person and they don't respect them, it's not a good relationship. And when we don't have that fear of rejection, then we can actually, be okay with communicating our needs, wants, and desires because we're secure in ourselves and we don't take it personally. And we also allow for the other person to have needs, wants, and desires. And we want to make things work for both of us, which is a healthy relationship. And if we can't do it for a while and it's just not matching up and there isn't reciprocity, then forget it. And work on the relationships that work.